Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the Closing Bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlett Fu.
All right, guys, let's go to some of the individual gainers, if I may. PayPal on that list at its highs, up about 2.3% in today's session, finishing with a gain of about 1 percentage point higher after the company applied to become a bank in the U.S. Move, at least according to some analysts, logical, could unlock some long-term monetization, should be approved given the favorable regulatory environment, again, according to some of these analysts. But again, a lot of the reporting out on this from the analyst community says the timeline is uncertain, could take years. So just something to keep in mind. Let's go to Comcast. This one was a top performer, number one gainer in the S&P 500. I believe also the number one gainer in the NASDAQ 100 in today's session. Yes, up about 5.5%. David Faber over at CNBC making some comments about interesting trading activity, particularly in the swaps market and also in options. A quote, "I don't know what's happening exactly." I will say the stock, some outperformance in many months. Stock, though, is under pressure, down about 22%, but just certainly popping up on our radar. For something kind of completely different, this stock, the ticker is RZLV. We're talking about Resolve AI, up almost 40% at its highs intraday, up 28% here at the close. It's an AI solutions company, announced that it expects to exit this year with annual recurring revenue exceeding $200 million. They go on to say the results materially exceed the company's original objective of reaching $100 million in annual recurring revenue by year end and surpassing the $150 million exit rate guidance issued just months ago. So some outperformance there. The stock is still down about 18% year to date with 7% of the float short. And I just want to mention, honorable mention, Tesla. I do think it may have hit a record close. Let me just look
here. Record high.
Record high, rather.
You don't need a terminal when you have Romaine.
Yeah, I know. Well, okay.
Wow.
Stock up 3% here at the close and a new all-time high. The first one this year, right?
Yeah, first one since last year, since December of 2024. So it's been quite a while. Yeah. Do you know why, Carol, that it's hitting a record high?
Darn you, Romaine Bostick.
Okay.
I don't know.
What do you
know
got?
Why?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Actually, we wanted to talk to Keith Naughton about, why are we seeing outperformance?
We spent time talking about Ford and GM, and it's interesting that on a day like today, when we see a big change from Ford as of yesterday, and the stock react today, that we see success at EVs or robotaxis, maybe, is what
maybe it was the
investors
EU
are thinking about when it comes to Tesla.
Was it the EU proposing 90% car emissions reduction target?
The headline says on the terminal, it's amid that self-driving optimism.
There we go.
There you go.
Self-driving optimism.
Hey, I want to talk about some of the decliners on the day today. There were so many energy stocks in the red that I just chose the S&P 500 composite energy, down 3% today. All 71 components of this were lower. Katie mentioned energy stocks falling as signs of an oversupply and potential peace talks weighed on oil prices. WTI falling to its lowest price going back to February of 2021. Major decliners include Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, ConocoPhillips, Phillips 66, and more. Also, shares of Pfizer falling on the day today. This after the company forecasts revenue next year, little or no sales growth for the next year. That'll be $59.5 to $62.5 billion. Shares fell today by 3.4%. The company expects next year's adjusted profit to reach $2.80 to $3 a share, and it's targeting more than $7 billion in savings by 2027. And finally, ULCC, that's Frontier Group, ultra low cost carrier. That's the ticker, down 11.2% today. Frontier shares fell as much as 15% earlier in this session. It was the most going only back to August after the company announced that James G. Dempsey has been appointed interim CEO. He replaces longtime leader Barry Biffle.
All right, a quick check on yields. We should just point out that we are down for a third straight day on yields on the shorter end of the curve, only down about 2 basis points. But obviously the trajectory that a lot of folks had priced into this market prior to that Fed meeting a week ago. You're also seeing the rest of the yield curve shift lower here on the day. So basically a parallel shift down here as we see 2 to 3 basis points across the curve.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.